Inside action, innovate. The Master Series elevates.
In this session of the Master Series, we explored what life after Microsoft Project Online might look like, and how organizations could modernize their project management office using Dynamics 365 project operations. With Project Online retiring in September 2026, the session focused on the decisions PMOs must make to move beyond disconnected planning and tracking tools. Led by Sandra Larea, the discussion highlighted how project operations unified project planning, resource management, time and expense tracking, and financials in a single AI-powered platform. Viewers learned how this end-to-end approach improved visibility, governance, and scalability across the project lifecycle. The session was designed for project managers, PMO leaders, IT, operations, and business decision makers planning a more connected, future-ready PMO. Let's get into it.
So, life after Project Online. Many of you have probably been hearing about the fact that Project Online is being sunset. It will no longer be supported, sold. It's going away September of 2026, so not too far away. That is a hard, fast date. It will not be changed or extended. That is what engineering has told us. That's the date. So the conversation we're going to have today is very important because we actually have a very large user base of Project Online. So today we'll talk briefly about the options, and then specifically we'll go deeper into project operations, which could be a solution that, while can replace Project Online, it might also help you replace other solutions or activities that you're doing manually. So I always like to start with, as you're going through this discussion, deciding what are we going to do now that we don't have Project Online, there's some key questions to ask yourself as an organization from a PMO or office standpoint. Do you need advanced scheduling? Things like dependencies, critical path. Are you managing multiple projects or portfolios? From a resource and team planning, do you require resource planning across teams? Do you actually resource schedule based on skills? There's financial and operational requirements. Are you tracking budgets? Do you record time? Do you record expense? Do you need a back-end ERP or at least an integration to it? Are you interested in having a system that's delivered with AI and Copilot capabilities, or at least the ability to build your own? And of course, reporting and insights. So as you can see from this list, this is way more robust than just Project Online. But that's why it's important to ask yourself this. Many of our customers that we're talking to are realizing, well, wow, we're using this old system for time entry. Our expenses over here. Resource scheduling is totally manual. None of the project managers can see the entire resource pool. So as you start to think about this, maybe it's a bigger world than just Project Online. Now, once you've asked yourself these questions, the way we're walking our customers through this is, what are your options? What are the solutions from Microsoft? There's Project Desktop, which is not going away. So you could just continue to have users very siloed using Project Desktop. You can eventually, if you'd like, move from Project Online to Project Server SE, Subscription Edition. It's probably the closest in parity to Project Online. However, it's delivered differently. It has to be hosted. It's on-prem within your own organization's walls. So very different. Then there's Planner. Planner is probably the most common move that we see with our customers. There's different levels of Microsoft Planner. With your M365 licensing, you get Planner, but then there's Planner 1, 3, and 5. Depending, again, the kind of capabilities that you require, remember those questions I talked about earlier, you may eventually need, though, a P3 or a P5. We're happy to work with our customers on that if that's where you'd like to go. But over on the right, where we're going to focus today, is project operations, where it's more robust. It covers a full life cycle from the sales, opportunity, or project intake, all the way through project financials and reporting. That might be the decision you make based on the questions we talked about. So the solution fit by use case, it could be Planner, it could be Project Server, or Project Operations. Here's a quick snapshot of feature function. So when you start to look at the differences, you'll see all the green is pretty much over in project operations, but project server almost on parity with planner, but still a little bit of a difference. So this again becomes key. But really, again, we always want our customers to focus what is really involved in your PMO office. Project Online is really just one piece of that puzzle. All right, let's talk about project operations. Today, we're going to go through a quick overview. I've got a few slides, and then we're going to actually go into the system. We'll show project intake, some quick planning and task management, overview of resource scheduling, time entry, and analytics. Now, first and foremost, some of you who are on this call, you may not be familiar with our business application suite. So from a platform standpoint, all of our solutions in this upper left quadrant, they're all built from the ground up on Azure. So Azure, number one in identity, security, management, compliance. Again, our productivity and collaboration suite also built from the ground up on our Azure suite. Little Copilot in the middle because we have Copilot everywhere. But today we're going to focus here on project operations, which is one of our business applications. But I also like to always bring up the Power Platform when we talk about it, because to be honest, project operations is just a big old Power App. It is built on the Power Platform, and within it, it's built on Dataverse, highly configurable. So things that you might want to change, fields that you might want to add, dragging and dropping different forms, or creating a business process flow that fits your business. Easy to do because it's built on the Power Platform. So what is included really with project operations? Again, very robust solution from the deal management all the way to billing and pro forma. So we can handle different contract types, fixed price, time and material, even task-based billing. You can start from an opportunity where if you truly want to have opportunities and leads and you want to track quotes, we do quote management as well. Now, you may not need all of that, and I'll show you a journey map that explains that. We then, of course, have work planning, project scheduling, Gantt views, Kanban boards. You can see your estimates. We do budgeting and baselining. We handle templates. From a resourcing standpoint, very robust. It works across skills, resource requests, booking reconciliations, very robust. That's a key differentiator from Project Online. From an execution standpoint, we have delivered time entry, expense entry. You can even have material usage if you need that, if you're actually buying things for your projects and you want to execute and plan for that. If we have time today, I'm hoping to go into the mobile app for time entry. There's subcontracting capabilities, which is always very important if you have a large workforce that's subcontracted. And if you are using our solution for customer-facing projects, we do handle the billing and pro forma. Very robust, as you can see. Like all of our business applications, we are delivering co-pilot experiences. Today, you'll see me talk to an agent or a co-pilot about my time entry. But just like all of our other business applications, we do have co-pilot embedded in project operations. You'll see the risk assessment one as well today. And of course, there's agents. Now, just to level set too, in case audience, I do come across folks that aren't familiar with our terminology. Copilot, that's our brand at Microsoft. It's your sidecar. It's typically one-to-one, and you'll have that sidecar in Project Ops. Agents are more one-to-many, where we might have an agent. I have a scheduling agent that I'm going to show you that will suggest resources for you. It's not just for me, though. Other folks can actually use that agent. So Copilot's agents working in tandem. So here's a typical journey map for a project operations customer. You can start all the way from an opportunity in more of the sales type activities, all the way through to analysis and reporting. You don't have to turn on all these features though. You'll start your journey in project operations where it makes sense. Is it from quoting? Is it just from actually a project planning and management standpoint where we're assigning resources? So what's nice about project operations is it's very robust, but you can truly limit how you want to use it. And that's wonderful. You can even grow into some of these capabilities. And as I said, think about your organization. Are you doing some of these capabilities in other systems that are getting old, that are manual, that are hard to maintain? And also, is it siloed? Wouldn't it be great to have all this information in one place? So project scenarios, we covered the gamut from investment projects, customer-facing, revenue-driving projects, down the bottom, internal IT. Maybe it's also like R&D type projects. So fully supporting all the many different scenarios that may need to be covered in your organization. As I mentioned earlier, we do support project budgeting and forecasting. This is a really wonderful feature if you do really want to track first your frozen budget and then, oh, what's happening over time. Now I want to start forecasting. That's wonderful for cash flow. That's very important to be able to do. So we support that within Project Ops. The structure and control of the project, it's a work breakdown structure. It's actually embedded project planner. So we have all the capabilities of planner within project operations. So you'll see your typical start and finish dates. You've got dependencies. We cover different types of critical path capabilities. We're tracking percent complete. We'll show this live in just a moment. Here's another view of the embedded Microsoft Planner capability. So anything you can do in Planner, you're going to have that capability here within Project Operations. You'll see on this screen different views. There's the view you just saw, the task view, but we also have the Gantt view and also a more agile type framework, a Kanban board. I'm going to show you this live in just a moment. As I mentioned, the solution's delivered with Copilot. And isn't it great to have a Copilot, a sidecar that can help suggest resources for you when you're starting to schedule them for your project? It truly helps you become more efficient in your day-to-day work. I'm also going to show you another Copilot, kind of cool. It'll actually help you to create status reports. I mean, who hasn't run a project where you're going through all kinds of different files, trying to pull what the latest status is? Well, we have a wonderful Copilot delivered that can do that for you. It'll also create different risks as well. Time tracking can be done within the project operations solution, or we have a mobile app for those folks that run projects where they're on site somewhere and they need to put their time in. Expense management is also delivered. A lot of our customers, we have a light version, but we also have a more expansive version that I'll show you today. Or a lot of our customers use Concur and other expense tracking systems. Not a problem. We can easily bring that data within Dynamics Project Operations. Here's a little view of our agent that we have, and I'm going to try and show this if we have enough time. And again, if your projects are customer facing, we have a very robust invoicing process from the project manager review to an invoice proposal to then we send it off to whatever your ERP system is. And last but not least, all of our solutions we deliver with embedded Power BI, lots of capabilities here to build the analytics that you need. All right, well, let's go take a look at the system. Now you should all see my screen, and I've just opened up to the landing page for project operations. Now I am a super user, so I have access to all the different elements of project operations, but please know that within the system, there is a security configuration so that the right people are seeing and doing the right things. You know, we get asked a lot about, well, I just have people that need to log in and update their tasks. Perfect. We have a view for that. We have special license for that called a team member. But here you'll see right away, I've got some nice embedded analytics talking to me about, in this case, what's going on in the overall practice, as well as I can see my resourcing where I might have some active requests and things like that. I do want to start one place just from a setup standpoint, because as we get into some of the capabilities, it'll be helpful for you to know or see where some of this data is actually coming from. The resources that you set up are critical to this. When you start to assign them, when they're available. So when I look at a resource, let's look at Ashley Chin. As I open it up, some key information is their time zone. When does Ashley typically work? When is she available? Number one, that's very important. On the project service tab, this is where we can first define what type of role does Ashley perform within our PMO office. Now you'll notice I have multiple roles. You might only have one-to-one. That's up to you. These roles too, these are they're user defined. I'm just showing you some sample ones that I use in my projects. Over here in the left, though, it's very important. These are the skills. When we go to use our agent to suggest resources for our project, we want to be as efficient as possible. So, not just to the role level, but hey, is this person an assembly line design? Are they proficient at it? Are they good at something? Is it fair? That will all come into play. Now, from a scheduling standpoint, we can get pretty fancy where you might have resources that are location agnostic. They'll work anywhere. Maybe they'll only work within a certain miles of their address, or it's got to be tied to the organizational unit. Project operations can support multiple organizational units. You can share resources across your different entities if needed. And when I click on the work hours, this is very important. What is this user's calendar? What's really nice here too is we can integrate with your HR system, or just you can allow users to put their expected time off or any non-working hours. Why is that important? We want to know their availability when we go to schedule. Awesome. All right, I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to start more at the beginning now. Typically, a project might start with some type of an intake process. So from an intake process, we deliver, it's a pretty simple request form. I have seen lots of customers create something within a Power App, even because maybe your process is a bit more robust or you need some more customized workflows using Power Automate. But let's say I'm just going to go look at this one request that's already come in, and I'll just click on edit. We have some just key fields. Now you can have a workflow involved here. So when the request actually gets changed to approved, it actually creates a project. You can update these though, and you can create your own workflow of the stages that you want this to go through. You can set different priorities, critical, high, moderate, because maybe that ties to, will this project get approved? If it's not something immediate or needed, maybe it stays in a state where it gets approved later. You'll see I can put some narratives here, details, business cases. I could talk about the strategic alignment, what's my budget, and eventually that request can get approved. Easy peasy. Now, if you remember that flow that I showed you, you might also, though, leverage an opportunity to be your project intake. Now, even if this isn't going to be customer facing, you can still leverage what we call an opportunity, where you could actually, if I click here and click on edit, you can use the opportunity and a quote to help you decide, should we move forward with this project? So it's very important here too, very thorough from a quote standpoint, where you can actually do a preliminary project to pull in the quote lines, but then the system will start to give you some key information on what's our budget, how would this be looking if we were to approve it and turn this quote into a project. I can look at the different project lines. I can even come over here and see, I can come in here and we could go to the actual quote lines if we need to. More analysis here as well. How did this project look from a budget standpoint to when we quoted it out? You don't have to use these features, but it is just another way to manage that intake process before something becomes a project. All right, I'm going to keep moving. So now let's say we've gone through all of that, we've done the intake, and now we have a project and we need to start working with that. So I'm going to click here on my project listing. I've got some nice quick little filters. It's very easy to group your projects so that as a program manager, project manager, I see what I need to see. We do have a concept of programs, or think about like portfolios even, where maybe you want to see broadly all the projects that are falling within a certain program that you're running. So in this case, I've actually said my default view are all my operations programs. Maybe that's what I review and what I'm responsible for. So let's go ahead and look at this ABC project. This is for a Dynamics ERP finance implementation. Here's your main form of that project. I'm going to make this screen a little bit bigger. Again, lots of informational fields. You can hide these fields, but key things is, here's my program. What's the state? What's the stage? Who's our executive sponsor? Who's the project manager? Coming down all the way, to just like currency and other information. I can track the status down here. Right now, the status is green, but maybe at some point it gets to red. You'll just see a lot of information also. When you see the little lock, that's going to be information that's calculated within the system. So right now I can see visually what my percent complete is at this moment. I can see what the estimated labor costs are. My schedule mode is fixed effort, meaning if I say it's 240 hours and I have two people, they're each going to get 120 hours. But we have other methodologies for that as well. You can bring over from your request the business case. It's always good to have that kind of information. And you can also start to track financial information. But the meat of this is right here in the task management. So this is that delivered embedded Microsoft Planner solution. And it looks very similar to Project Online, right? Where I have my grid view here, where I have my different tasks. I have different people I've assigned to it. I have dependencies, and the dependencies is also an area we're a bit more robust here, where it's not just start to finish. It could be finish to start. You can have different capabilities there in the dependencies. What's really great about this too is this is all very configurable. I can remove columns, drag and drop columns. I can also add just other columns if I want to add priority to this grid. I can add priority as well. You could do some color coding as well. So very, very easy to use. Now you will see in some of these cases, as you start to build out a project, I've already started to schedule this project. I have my project manager defined. I also have one of my team members. But I also can have what we call generic resources, where I want to use my scheduling engine to actually help the system tell me or recommend resources to me to schedule. So this is the grid view. But as I mentioned, we have other views like a board view. So maybe here I want to add a bucket and I can just say that this is sprint 1. And maybe I have another one. This is sprint 2. And so on. And then I can start dragging and dropping tasks over underneath. So you can manage things from that Kanban style if you'd like. We also have the timeline view, where this is truly my Gantt type view. It is interactive. I can drag and drop things all over the place. One capability too that we get asked a lot about, can we show critical path? Yeah, we can. That's very important when you're running projects that are dependent on other things. And if one node is going to be late, what's the critical path for something? So all of those capabilities delivered here, because this is Project Planner embedded within the system. Sandy?
Sandra,
Yes.
yeah, there's a question. Can we assign only certain percentage of a team member to a task?
Yes. So when I can show that in just a moment. When we go to schedule, there's some different scheduling modes where I can say front load the hours, which might say take the full amount, front load it. Or I can also say, well, wait, maybe only do it on remaining capacity. Or I could even say, hey, I only want to book 40 hours and deliver it evenly across a certain time period. So our scheduling modes will allow you to do that. And we also do have I didn't show it on the resource itself, you have a target utilization as well. So we can configure what their actual capacity should be or what we want to target as well. That doesn't mean you can't overschedule them, but hopefully we put controls in the system that we don't do that.
Yeah, the other question is, can we export to Planner like we used to for Project Online?
Well, this is Planner. So yes, you can, like if I go back over here, you can definitely export to Excel, but there is a view here where you can just open this up in Planner, yes. If you just want to see it for Planner.
Yeah, that's all the question. I already answered
Okay.
the other question, whether we have the capability to add regional calendars, which is a yes. So I already replied. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to move ahead now. A couple things. If I look up here, I did want to show the tracking tab. So if you are interested in truly tracking the financials and the percent completes, the tracking tab will start to build out, based on the resources you're assigning, the resource type, the role. Behind the scenes, we have tables where we have cost rates or even sales rates if you're going to be billing this out to a customer. But this is how we get that initial budget or estimate to start tracking to. Now, this is more of an effort view where if I want to start, I have my percent complete, I have the effort completed, I can start to change though my estimate at complete as a project manager to truly track and forecast this out. If I go here and I look at cost, you'll see here are all the different costs that are aligned to those tasks. I could also show this though by if I go into the resource assignments. So you can also see by the given resources as they start to get assigned and booked, we can start to see the hours and the costs that are also assigned to them. So lots of things that you can track. You could also put in other types of estimates. In this case, I'm also putting in as part of my budget or estimate that we're going to have some meal expense, or maybe there's some travel you're expecting, hotel, any kind of expense. I had a customer recently that they actually their ERP, their SAP system does all the actual procurement, but from a planning and estimating standpoint, they had prepays to the vendors. So they would put that in here as estimates so that they truly understood the cost of the project. All right, let's go look at the resources tab. So, oh, wait, before I do that, I did want to show one more thing. When you actually go to create a project, if we were to say new project, we do have the capability to copy, and you might have a library of templates where it just copies it in. But you might also want to leverage one of our first co-pilots. So in this case, I've got a project that I created, and it's going to be an analytics transformation project, a Power BI fabric deployment for finance. And if I click here on the task, you can actually wants me to refresh the page because I set this up earlier. You can actually leverage one of our co-pilots to create the task plan for you. So right here, if I click on Copilot, you'll see task plan. And just based on that description, but it also will look at other projects. This Copilot will go ahead and actually lay out for me a very nice sample, let's say, task plan. I can certainly still change it, copy in nodes from other projects. And again, you could just copy the project, but this is pretty efficient to actually help you even create your templates that you might use. So you'll see, just use some general knowledge base to actually generate what these tasks might be. And then I would start planning this project from there. All right, I'm going to go back now into the main project that we've been working on here. And let's go look at the resources. Now I've got the requirements generated, but I haven't scheduled or booked anybody yet for the software engineer, let's say. Now we cover multiple modes of scheduling. Maybe your organization allows the project manager to do the scheduling right from the project. Or maybe you have a centralized scheduling where, as a project manager, I can propose a resource, and then it shows up in a pool for your actual schedulers to do the scheduling. Maybe you do both. We support all of that. So very robust in how you want to schedule. But as a project manager, what I can do is, let's say I want to see which software engineers are available. So remember all those skill sets and the roles that are on the resources. If I click here on my friendly agent here, my co-pilot, it's going to go out and suggest resources for me that may be available. It's also going to rank them with scores. Now, what might go into that score? Well, the skills, right? Availability. So I can actually do a compare to see, based on their experience, cost impact, who's got the most availability. You'll see Bob doesn't have a lot of availability, so he's coming in with the lowest score. So all great information for you. You can shortlist, and then maybe even you can open up Teams here within with the system. You can go to a Teams chat and actually start chatting with people to say, hey, what do you think about this project? Have you done anything like that? Your skills say, yeah, you can. So all within the same form for you to do. Now, if I want, I could just do some booking right from here, but I did want to show you the other way you can book as well. Maybe you want to see this more graphical. So I could just click here and I could open up my schedule board, the actual schedule board. And this will open up and it'll show me a few different things. It's already doing a quick filter on resources that are software engineers. It's going to do that right away for me. If I click here on Gantt, it's going to show me more. And I don't know why it's not showing me who's available. So let's go over here and see for some reason why it's not giving me anybody. But let's just say search here. And there we go. Now we can see all the different folks that might be available from Bob through Dick, and I can see their availability. This is in more of a grid or a Gantt view where I can see the hours available. You can change this. This is a weekly view. I can change it to daily, monthly, hourly. I'm going to go into the main schedule board. This is just, again, aligning to trying to fill this requirement for a software engineer. If I want to book somebody, like let's say I want to go ahead and book Kelly over here on the right. Now here's those booking methods that we were talking about. Am I doing a remaining requirement, a full requirement? How do I want to book all those different hours? I could also do what's called a propose. So once again, if you have more centralized scheduling, I can propose this resource and via a workflow, notify somebody that, hey, I want to try and get Kelly for this. So this is, again, another view where your project manager can do some scheduling. Now, also, which I do want to show you, though, is what does the just overall schedule board look like? What is that holistic view of the schedule board? So here, if I am one of those schedulers, or I could be a project manager, and I just want to see all my different resources, I can see all the open requirements down here in the bottom that need to be scheduled. I could also see just all the different projects that have been created that I also could schedule from here. Right away on the Gantt, you're going to see some colors. So we do have a legend that's tied to this. Gray is canceled, committed, hard booking, proposed will show up as green. The red you're seeing, that means Ashley, she's overbooked. So right away, it's alerting that that resource has too much on their plate. As I scroll through again, you might see some other green or other just bookings. You can expand this however you want to view this. You can once again view this weekly, hourly, daily. You could also make this even smaller too. I've got mine in like the nodes, like the way this is looking. I have them like bigger boxes, but you can make these much smaller if you'd like. So very easy to navigate here and see what's going on. You have the same filters over here. So if I just wanted to filter to just all my finance project managers, I could click apply and I could see what all those people are working on. So I can always kind of get a team view, a pool view, whatever it is I needed to look at here. And if I wanted to actually start to schedule from here, again, I could just take this whole entire, or I could split it up. This ABC, this is for the finance team member. I could just drag and drop. So you can just do your scheduling this way, just drag and drop. Maybe I want to put this up to Gracie and I drag the whole thing. Maybe I then expand this. If this is going to go out to, I think, August, I can say schedule this through August 24th. I could do the full, I can front load those hours. I can do remaining capacity. I could do a percentage capacity. I can evenly distribute the hours. Lots of different ways that I could decide to book this. If I want to book the whole thing, I just book that all now to Gracie. So you can choose how you want to do the scheduling. This is quite easy though, as you can see though, because I'm just dragging and dropping. You could also do some free, I call it like freehand type scheduling. If I click on project, maybe I just got a call that somebody wants Ephraim to just do some oversight on AdventureWorks, maybe 40 hours over a couple of weeks or 2 or 3 weeks. So I could just drag that like right over to Ephraim. But over here is where I can say, when do I want this to end? Well, let's take it all the way through the 27th. But I want to not front load. I want to evenly distribute, and I want to evenly distribute 40 hours. So now I can book, and it's going to evenly distribute that. So that he's not necessarily booked to a task on the project, but he's now going to provide some oversight, and he's booked to that. So he can book hours to that as well. So that's just some quick overview here on resource scheduling. I want to keep going so we get to our Q&A. The next thing I wanted to move to is, how are we tracking actuals? How do we get actuals in the system? Well, that's where time comes in, time entries. And as I mentioned, we do deliver a Dynamics with a time entry system. Multiple ways you can enter time. You could come over and say import from their assignments or their bookings. You could also pull in from Outlook, their meetings and appointments there. You'll see too that it shows me my bookable resource. If I want, I could just say new and think of this as like a delegate. If I want to go ahead and just book some time for Ashley Chin, maybe my folks submit their time to me, and as the manager, I put it in. So I have the capability to do that. But let's say I wanted to just put some of my own time in. Here's another one of our friendly co-pilots where I can say log time. And now it'll ask me previous week, current week, next week. So I'll just say previous week. And it knows that I was booked to this QuadMed Dataverse project. So if I say, yep, create the entries, my co-pilot can actually go ahead and create those entries for me. So it's created 5 time entries for me. And if I quickly, I'm going to close out of here. If I quickly refresh, there you go. It actually created those entries for me. I can modify them and put in descriptions. If this is going to be time billed to customers, there's definitely places in here where you could very easily put in the descriptions that you need. Now, this is tied to a workflow. So as I'm a user putting in my time, if I agree with the time that's been put in, I can just very simply click submit. And this will drive through a workflow. My workflow that I've configured, super simple. It's just going to go to my project manager. And today I am my own project manager as well. You'll also see too that you can copy week from week, almost creating favorites. So time entry can be very, very simple. If I click on submit, this is going to very easily move over now to the approvals. And once I click on approvals, as the manager, the project manager, I'll start to see these. I can do some things. I can reject it, I can edit it, or I can approve it. And once this then is approved, these actuals will now start showing up on the project itself. So that's how we start to track actuals. Same thing with expenses. You can enter very easy and simple expenses here, like kickoff lunches, meals, travel, things like that. Once an expense has been submitted, it may show up here in your expense entries for approval. So here's one that I had put in earlier where it's for a kickoff lunch. Once again, as the project manager, I can go ahead and I can approve it. And I'm going to really quickly show you, I'm going to flip over to my phone and I am going to share my screen. So I'm going to stop sharing here and I'm going to very quickly share from my phone so that you can actually see the phone app that we deliver. So everybody should see this in just a moment. There it is. All you need to do, so what we deliver from that standpoint, it's a Power App. So your users, it will be published to them as a user, and then they will just, whenever they need to put in their time, they'll put in their time. What I really like about this time entry form, though, is I can see from a weekly standpoint what I may need to be doing. If I go to my work, it really shows me all the things that I'm aligned to this week, prior weeks, all the different projects. So I can very quickly just click on create here and create my timesheet. This also comes with a kind of like a stopwatch as well. We have many customers, especially like in the legal industry, where they actually truly have to, they bill to like maybe every 7 minutes. So they use this stop clock to actually help them do it. So just wanted to let you all know that we do have this wonderful time entry app. So I'm going to go ahead and unshare that now so that we can do a few more things and then we will be done. Hold on, stop presenting. Where did it go? There we go. Awesome. I'm going to go back now and share my main screen within Project Operations. And what I want to go to next, just really quick, is just going, yes, is there a question? Nope.
No, I think we just had an echo. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to just go back to the project and showcase 2 more of our co-pilots. So as the project's going on, as a project manager, often you're going to have to do some type of a project status report or come up with what the risks are as you're reporting up to your leadership. So we do have 2 other co-pilots, a status report and a risk assessment. On whatever cadence you want, you can create internal or external status reports. And what this co-pilot is now doing is it's looking at the project, it's looking at all the actuals, it's looking at the schedule, and it's creating a really wonderful status report that you can share. It's editable if you need, so you can create this, you can just edit this in Word, you can add other elements of your own status reporting, but it surely does save quite a bit of time from that standpoint, especially when you're a busy project manager. Now, the same thing happens with risks. We have a co-pilot that can also go in and talk about the different risks. So inaccurate tracking and recording of team members' time. That could be a risk. The risk probability is 60%. So how you use this in your status reporting, Dynamics is going to help you generate what these risks are. You could also create your own manually if that's what you do. Awesome. All right, last thing I wanted to move to before we can get to some Q&A is reporting. Certainly there's analytics that are going to be needed from a reporting standpoint, and we absolutely deliver Dynamics with Power BI. As I mentioned, if you know our platform, this is built on the Power Platform. So all this data is readily accessible for you to either use the delivered dashboards that we deliver or ones that you may decide that you build yourself within Power BI. Here's a few examples, like a request dashboard that's tracking information about your requests. This one I had a peer portfolio dashboard. You know, what is our portfolio overall looking like? You can do some nice filters here if I want to filter again to one of the different programs, like the operations program that I was working on earlier. You can start to see red, green, yellow. This is all live data. It does have a cadence. You'll see this was last updated today. I have mine updating like every hour or so. So it's all within the same database, near real time with these types of reports. I can look at things from portfolio financials, a portfolio timeline. I can even start to look at resource dashboards. There's really a nice view here too for your actual folks where they can come in and just see their tasks that they have and how they're doing. So wonderful, wonderful capabilities here with Power BI. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we can maybe ask some questions and answer them for you.
So Sandra, there are 3 questions in the chat. I'm gonna repeat for you to
Okay.
answer, and I'm gonna go to the Q&A. There's also 2 more questions, I believe, over there. So the first one, does project operation also support dependency from other plans?
Yes, you across projects. Is that, I'm assuming that that's what they mean, that they want to, you have multiple projects and you need to support the dependencies across them. I do believe that answer is yes, but let's do a follow-up on that, Dennis.
Sure. The second question is, how are programs handled with multiple sub-project?
Well, I mean, here you can see I've got, in my case, I am working with programs, and then under the programs here in the projects, so I put program here as one of my filters. I can have different programs, and then here's the different projects. Are we thinking you've got sub-projects within projects? Or it could just be another project under that program. I do believe, though, on our roadmap, the actual concept of sub-project is coming.
Okay. Next questions. Can I break a booking like split and move remaining work after 1 week?
Yeah, when you go to, there's lots you can do in the schedule board. So, like, let's say if you remember, I had that person on my schedule board here, like Ashley. She's quite overloaded here. I could just very quickly right click and I could say move to here, and I could move it to a different resource. And then when I say that resource, I can also once again say what percentage of that. So I could break that across 2 people.
Okay, the next question is from the Q&A session. This is more licensing related. At retail cost of 135 per user per month, Dynamics operation license is not cheap. Who needs a license? Is it only project managers, or does everyone working in it need a license? We have some
Yeah.
people who only record their timesheet.
Yes. So that's where we do have like lighter licenses. So for your folks that are just putting in time, they would only be a team member type license that would not be a full project ops. Their view would be very specific to just logging in time. So absolutely not every user is going to need the full-blown operations license.
And the other thing I would like to add to that is regarding the retail cost of 135 per user per month, make sure you talk to your Microsoft rep. If you don't have one, please do let us know. we have different program that can help you to transition to project operations if you're interested.
Yes, that's a really great point. The 135, that's just like the retail list price. Most of our customers have discounted pricing off the bat, but then again, we do have programs in place to help our customers do this migration, where there may be investment capabilities from Microsoft to help you along.
Okay. The next question is also from Eric. This one I may need you to come unmute to provide a little bit more context. So he's saying that I have inherited project at my company. We have thousands of projects. There is no PMO. Is it fair to say our starting point should be to message project owners to delete project no longer needed and move anything they need from project online elsewhere? The
That's
way I
a great,
understand, yeah.
I mean, that's a great question. All cleanup's important. I will say though, there is no magic button, easy button that migrates, whether you're going to choose project server or project ops. Our recommendation is to work with a partner that has probably built some tools to help make that more efficient, moving your projects along. So if you're really thinking of moving things in bulk with some type of a integration or automation, cleaning out old projects would certainly make sense. But I would still recommend we can recommend partners for you as well to talk to who are doing this on a daily basis. They've probably got some best practices.
I believe that's all the question we have. I answered some of them in the chat directly. For those answers I provided, I just want to remind the audience. I answered those questions based on the so-called out-of-box functionality perspective. But if you have any specific process or feature that you need, there's great possibility that we can offer you other approach to configure project operation. I think just reach out to us and give us more context that we can give you alternative option to resolve what you need.
And with that, let's go ahead and end this session. Thanks so much for the interaction, everybody. It has been fabulous speaking with you today. Hope you all have a great one.
Inside Action Innovate. The Master Series Elevate.